Missouri schools are getting a shipment of rapid COVID-19 tests from the federal government. Some tips to know before going to the polls on Election Day.
The Trump and Biden campaigns butt heads over the response to COVID as cases rise. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House as candidates make their final pitches to voters.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Schools in Missouri are set to receive thousands of COVID-19 rapid testing kits. This is KOAM News at 5. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is sending 1.8 million rapid coronavirus tests to Missouri. 60% of those will go to K through 12 schools. The Joplin School District is to receive more than 7,000 tests. Dr. Melinda Moss says they'll initially use the tests just for staff and instructors as they try to keep schools open.
Now we're able to bring that teacher in, do the 15-minute antigen test with our own trained school nurses, and then find out if it's positive or negative in order to be able to keep them in the classroom if it's simply the common cold or some other illness.
The Webb City and Carthage school districts will also receive tests. Tonight at 6, we're going to hear about a local hospital's rapid testing supply. Now today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. Today's question is, should hospitals get more rapid tests before others? Your options are yes, no, or at the same time. You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on them periodically throughout KOAM News at 5. We'll have the final results on KOAM News at 6. Voting is underway in a lot of places and ends in less than a week, but are you fully prepared to vote in person? Local election officials say there are some key points to remember. Voter turnout is expected to be high this year, so officials say expect long lines and be prepared to wait. They say it's also important to be mindful of those around you.
So we're just asking everybody to be respectful of everybody else. If somebody's wearing a mask, then great. If they're not wearing a mask, then great. They have their constitutional right to or not to. So be polite and make sure that we do social distance.
We're going to have a few more tips on how you can be safe before you head to the polls and while you're there tonight at 6. Doug Heddy joins us now. We needed the rain. We've been getting quite a bit of it, Doug.
We have. The past couple months have been so dry, and we've definitely caught up. Most areas have had 2 or 3 inches over the past few days, and we're going to continue to get rain this evening, tonight, and then into tomorrow morning. Of course, it's too cold for anything too strong or severe, and at least we're warm enough we don't have to deal with any more ice like we've had over the past couple days, especially in our northwestern counties. But we got the rain. Just the cold rain is going to continue to work through. Where you see the yellows, that is showing us kind of a moderate rain, so it's let up a little bit on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, but we're just going to have periods of showers throughout the overnight hours tonight. Let's go through the evening. I'll stop at 11 p.m. You can still see bands of showers, even a few random little thunder showers. Here's 1 a.m. Let's go through the morning hours. So very persistent rain tonight. Of course, we're going to talk about how much rain, when it's going to get out of here, and what's going to happen after that here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you then. The Republican and Democratic tickets are trying to woo voters in Arizona today, but President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden also continue to spar over the coronavirus pandemic as several states see an uptick in new cases. Reporter Skyler Henry is at the White House with more.
President Trump is in the Southwest today for multiple rallies in Arizona.
I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like this in the history of our country politically. There's tremendous support.
How are you?
Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris also hit the Copper State to court Latino and Black voters.
Our campaign is focused on earning the vote of every American.
The latest CBS News Battleground Tracker poll estimates that Arizona will be a toss-up, giving a slight edge to Democratic nominee Joe Biden. The former vice president and his wife Jill stayed in Wilmington, Delaware to vote, joining the more than 73 million Americans who have already cast early ballots. Biden also continues to hammer the administration's response to the coronavirus pandemic. The White House Science Office recently touted ending COVID-19 as one of the president's accomplishments, even as cases soar in several states.
The refusal of the Trump administration to recognize the reality we're living through, at a time when almost 1,000 Americans a day are dying every single day, is an insult to every single person suffering from COVID-19.
The president continues to counter that the country is, quote, turning the corner. Days after a coronavirus outbreak among his close staff members, Vice President Mike Pence continues to campaign, holding large rallies in Michigan and Wisconsin. This week, Wisconsin state health officials announced new one-day records in the number of new COVID cases and deaths. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News has learned that President Trump plans to hit 10 states these final days before Election Day. Still ahead, a new way to work remotely.
You've heard about work from home, but how about work from hotel? I'm Laura Podesta in New York with how some hotels are offering their rooms as office space.
And next in Health Watch, some warning signs of stroke to look out for and how you can reduce your risk. A member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force says the nation is at another critical point, urging Americans to keep wearing masks and practice social distancing. The U.S. just recorded its worst week since the pandemic began, adding 500,000 new infections to the list. An average of 805 people are dying each day. That's up from 714 just 2 weeks ago. A new study shows more than 80% of coronavirus patients hospitalized in Spain have vitamin D deficiency. Men had lower levels than women. Vitamin D benefits the immune system, and doctors say a deficiency should be identified and treated, especially for the elderly and people with underlying conditions. New research shows micro droplets aren't very effective at spreading the coronavirus. Physicists at the University of Amsterdam found that while lingering micro droplets are not risk-free, they contain less virus than the larger droplets produced when someone coughs, speaks, or sneezes directly on us. Tomorrow is World Stroke Day, a day to raise awareness for a leading cause of death and disability around the world. About 800,000 people have strokes in the U.S. every year, but many can be prevented. Elise Preston has one mother's story of how suffering a stroke changed her life.
People don't realize that it can happen to you.
That's why 42-year-old Kelly Fuchek tells her story.
I woke up one morning and I noticed some issues with balance.
She also had vision problems and neck pain. She was having a stroke at just 32 years old.
I waited 2 days before I sought any medical attention, which is just ridiculous. And even every time I talk about it, I get kind of, emotional just because I could not be here now.
While stroke is more common in older people, rates are increasing in younger adults. Dr. Mitchell Elkin, president of the American Heart Association, says we don't fully understand why.
It may reflect changes in behavior, like different diet and lack of exercise, a sedentary lifestyle, increases in obesity and diabetes that can lead to vascular disease and stroke. So we need to figure out why it's happening and prevent it.
Managing those risk factors is key. Controlling high blood pressure is one of the most important things to reduce risk. And know the warning signs. Think fast, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 911.
We do have treatments for people who are having strokes, but they need to be given as quickly as possible. And the longer people wait, the more brain damage they will suffer after a stroke.
After her stroke, Kelly stopped smoking, lost more than 50 pounds, and started eating right and exercising.
It was very difficult to recover from in the emotional aspect as well as the physical, but I was very blessed with being able to do some rehab and really I have no deficits.
She's also teaching her children to live a healthy life. Elise Preston, CBS News.
Many of the risk factors for stroke, such as uncontrolled high blood pressure, smoking, and obesity, also increase the risk of severe illness from COVID-19, so it is critical to manage those risks. A study in the journal BMC Pediatrics found that girls who do not live with both parents from birth to age 2 may be at a higher risk for early puberty. That's compared to girls living with both parents. Researchers suggest that stress in early life may influence the onset of puberty. Let's check back in with our KOAM News Now Instapoll. Again, our question, should hospitals get more rapid tests before others? Your options are yes, 40% saying that, 2% say no, 58% say at the same time at this point. You can join in on the conversation by voting at koamnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to tell you how you know when you're scratching the right spot on your dog.
Plus, we got more rain sticking around tonight into tomorrow. We're going to look at how much coming up next. Another cold, wet day for us today. We've had the on and off showers, even a few little thunder showers across the region, but at least our temperatures have warmed up, so we don't have to worry about any ice across any part of the four-state area like we have dealt with over the past couple days. But rainfall, we continue to rack it up about a half an inch since midnight for the month now, over 3 inches for the year, over 40. Average is 39, so we're about 3/4 ahead, but we dropped about 2 inches behind. So we'll take whatever we can get because we will start to dry back out once again as we head into next week. But it is cold, but at least we're in the 40s. Anywhere from 39, Nevada 48 in Anderson, Miami at 46, Chanute is sitting at 43 degrees. We have these northerly winds, which are actually going to pick up a bit later on tonight into tomorrow, kind of ushering in that cooler air. So it's cold outside. Currently, we're looking off toward the east, really from our station. 42 feels like 37. Northerly winds at about 10. Humidity, it's high. It's at 96%. Through the evening hours, we are going to continue to hold into the 40s. We do have a flood watch in effect, and this is just due to the rain that has been across the region. Just the past couple days, even though we were behind on rain and it was very dry, so when you get so much rain in a short period of time across 2 or 3 days, that's usually why we get the flood watch, and that is in effect for us as we work through the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow. Look at all the moisture lifting in. Most of the morning was dry. The rain really started to pick up as we got into late morning and then across into the afternoon. Most of this is just light to moderate rain, but of course it's enough that we are getting some heavier amounts. Where you see the yellows, this is showing us anywhere from moderate, even sometimes some heavy amounts of rain. So we'll zoom in. You can see the heavier rain really from Pittsburgh, Lamar. We can track up near Nevada, and then we can go a little farther south, Carthage, Monette, Mount Vernon, Cassville, all the way down to Pineville, Neosho. As we go off toward the west, it's really just drizzle on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, and then it picks back up once you get into our far western counties. But the bottom line is we're going to continue to get waves of moisture all night long. You can see this little twist out across parts of the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, and this is the main upper level low. It's cut off from the main flow of the jet, so it's just slowly working through. So it's still going to affect us as we work through about the next day, and then we'll start to see improvements. Let's go through the evening. Just periods of showers. We kind of hold into lower 40s. Could even get a thunder shower out there. Here's 2 a.m. Moisture continues into the morning. Here's 5 a.m. Let's go through the morning hours. Here's 8 a.m. Still, we're going to continue to have the rain across the region. I do think late morning into the early afternoon. So here's 9:30. Once we get to about 12:30, finally, the rain will start to rotate out. It's going to stay cloudy and cold most of the day, but we are going to start to see improvements by the time we head into the weekend, which is great news. Nick was helping me out on some of the graphics. I forgot to update it, but you can see everything shifted one day earlier or later. But Halloween is on Saturday, and we fall back Saturday night. But you can see our temperatures do start to warm back up. I'll fix that before final weather.
So you are forecasting a 100% chance that Halloween will be on
It's going to be on Saturday. Yes.
All right. Very good. Hurricane Zeta has made landfall south of New Orleans this afternoon. It's been bringing with it strong winds, life-threatening storm surge. A lot of residents made last-minute preparation to protect their homes. About 1,500 Louisiana National Guardsmen are on standby to help with the cleanup and the recovery. Coming up, booking a hotel room as office space. First, though, we honor a local Purple Heart recipient. Lester Robbins served in the U.S. Army from 1965 to 67, and the Anderson, Missouri native was stationed in Vietnam, and we salute Corporal Lester Robbins, a four-state hero. Procter & Gamble gets a nod of approval from the Environmental Protection Agency for its COVID-fighting spray. P&G first released its new Microban 24-hour sanitizing spray back in February, but the outbreak was deemed a pandemic. That's before it was deemed a pandemic. But for a product to officially claim it can kill a specific virus, the EPA must test and approve it. P&G said third-party testing shows it kills the virus in 60 seconds. With people traveling less during the pandemic, hotels are seeing a huge drop in business, as you would imagine. Well, now the industry is trying to attract customers to use their rooms during the day. Laura Podesta reports.
Anne McGovern's stay at this Hilton hotel is no vacation. She lives in the area but comes to the Conrad New York downtown in Manhattan to find peace and quiet to conduct Zoom calls.
Just the quiet, less distractions, less feeling like you have to do other things because you're at home and you're trying to multitask. Like, in addition, this just allows me to be able to focus, attend my meetings, be really present for them.
Hilton is one of several chains allowing customers to use rooms during the day. Guests check in as early as 7 a.m. and leave 8 hours later. There's breakfast, lunch, Wi-Fi, access to a gym, and even an afternoon cocktail. The Hamilton Hotel in D.C. has a similar deal, offering customers a room to work in and a bit of relaxation at the same time.
We'll do a shoe shine for you while you're there if you want to kick off your shoes, obviously free of charge.
So you want this to be a luxurious experience?
Yeah, we want to think of everything, including, there's a bed there so you could take a nap if you're going between, large business trips.
The new deals are also helping fill more rooms, with most travel still on hold. The Hilton Conrad's general manager says safety is a priority. Rooms are disinfected and all employees wear masks.
The clean stay environment that we have in the suites and as you enter the hotel make people feel incredibly comfortable.
Expanding the business of hospitality to a new kind of business traveler. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Our pet vet on call next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more Election Day tips for people headed to the polls. Plus, how funding for area hospitals has been impacted by the pandemic and what Pitt State plans to do with a $146,000 grant from the Kansas Chamber of Commerce. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Sometimes you need a little help dealing with that hard-to-reach itch. Today's question for our pet vet on call: what causes dogs to twitch a leg when their back is scratched?
That is them telling you that you have found the spot. If you scratch a dog anywhere, you can tell that they obviously enjoy that all over their body. But when you hit that spot, that leg comes up and says, "This is the spot, don't move."
We invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question every Wednesday right here on KOAM News at 5. All right, now let's check out picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen a young male hound mix named Theodore. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we've chosen this female Australian cattle dog mix, just waiting for you to scratch an itch. Her name is Serafina. If you're looking for a pet, we hope you check out your local Humane Society. They always have a lot of great ones. Let's take one last quick look at our KOAM News Now Insta poll. We asked you, should hospitals get more rapid tests before others? So far, 39% say yes, only 1% saying no, 60% saying at the same time. You do still have time to vote at koamnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. We'll have the final results on KOAM News at 6. Checking back in with Doug Hetty now.
Yeah, rain continues tonight into tomorrow morning and then just kind of clouds and cold tomorrow. Friday, Saturday into Halloween, we start to see improvements.
See you at 6. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.